shout out to Echidnut. We're gonna watch a video from him called Shala and Flugel. Hopefully this will add more information that kind of explains what's going on with Subaru and Flugel and Emilia and Satala. Right now, I think a lot of people are aware that Subaru and Flugel connection is pretty damn real. Like Shala's literally saying it like that. But here's a question I have. Why can't Betelgeuse remember Subaru or Flugel? Because of the madness. If you guys remember, there was a scene in season 2 where Betelgeuse is about to, this isn't Betelgeuse, it's just Juice. And he is about to take in the bones of most likely Flugel and the witch factor of sloth that exists in that. And he talks about how he's not worthy and talks about Lord Flugel. So Shala remembers what Flugel looks like, Subaru. But Betelgeuse doesn't because most likely the madness, but something that was pretty interesting there.
What up, weebs? Happy ReZero Day. This episode was awesome for me, but pretty confusing for my roommate who's an anime only, so if anyone else didn't quite understand what happened, I can try to spell it out for you. First of all, this absolute baddie Shala, who we thought was the sage, actually thinks that Subaru is the sage. So we're kinda screwed.
Which is so annoying because there is Sage and there's the Great Sage, and Flugel seems to be the actual sage and Shala simply just took the credit. Feels like Flugel, all the work that he did was just given to Shala, and maybe that was intentional because he wants to stay low-key.
So we're kind of screwed because our goal was to come here and meet the sage so that she could wake up Rem.
She don't know shit though.
It turns out that the sage is retarded. Anastasia shows us what
democracy. It may work on paper, but the people are retarded. I love that clip. It's true though. Anyways, so it's just typical Nagatsuki Tappei storytelling. You don't want to give out everything. Wow, you have this sage that knows everything that's going to give us the answers. Well, then where's the fun in that? So it's unfortunate, but I think it's well done. And the fact that there is a connection with Flugel to Subaru in the Lost Memories, again, really cool.
What the sage looks like on the coins, and it clearly doesn't look anything like Shala. It also
now this could be Flugel into the future. Well, not of the future, but like when he was really old, right? Because we see what Flugel looks like in the ending visuals as well, about 400 years ago, with Echidna and all of them, right? Echidna's there, Reed's there, some Lagunican royals there, Hosen of the Wilderness is there, Satala and Flugel's there. Satala looks like Emilia, Flugel just looks like Subaru. Could this be old Subaru? Who knows? There's a very interesting theory about Subaru's dad being Flugel. Do you guys remember season 2? There was something very odd about the number schemes of mayonnaise caps. I forgot, some rare collectibles. In season 2, there were some funny theories about Subaru's dad actually, having been like isekai into the world of ReZero. I was like, what the fuck? But we were just memeing up with that. But now there's some additional things that could like hint that could that have been, him, Natsuki Ken? I don't know.
also doesn't really look like Subaru either, so the reason Shala thinks the sage is Subaru is because of his smell. We've known since season 1 that Subaru...
Also, Kenichi, right? Kenichi, right. Kenichi is his name, Natsuki Kenichi. Ichi means one, Ken, again, Kenja, right? Sage. First sage? It's just wordplay. There is very weak, but here's the thing, right? It's like, but it exists. It's not a nothing burger. And considering the wordplay and subtle hints that Nagatsuki Tappei loves to do in ReZero, could you imagine?
Subaru is because of his smell. We've known since season 1 that Subaru has the witch's scent, so the implication is that this Flugel person must also have had a similar connection with Satella. Shala also says a few English words this episode, for example, no problem, or if you're watching the English dub, she says no problemo. The point being, English and Spanish don't exist in the ReZero world, so it's implied that someone from Earth must have taught those phrases to Shala. Also,
most likely Flugel, could be Hoshin in the Wilderness, but again, those guys aren't really speaking English, right? This has Subaru, LARPed as an English speaker before? I don't know, but clearly like Earth, connections.
The name of the watchtower itself is a reference to a constellation that can be seen from Earth. Pleiades is a constellation known as the Seven Sisters, an obvious reference to the Seven Witches, and also Subaru is another word for Pleiades, except in Japanese, Subaru also means unity. So that's why I think Subaru's destiny in ReZero is to unite the Seven Sisters.
That's right. Right, we're trying to collect all the different witch factors, right? We're trying to put them all in the Shadow Garden, and then what? We get to save Sato. Like, so was the plan from the beginning all this? I wonder if Flugel had returned by death. Who knows? But it feels like somehow, some way, 400 years ago, that party, shit went down and Satella had to crash out. And I guess Flugel realized that the only way to save his beloved is to have this happen, where you have Natsuki Subaru with Return by Death. That's going to be the uniter to, unite all the, witches, the witch factors, have the authorities and unlock the seal and bring back his beloved. I don't know. But so it's like, I can see the shape of the puzzle, but the details are still so ambiguous.
And thus, I think he will have all 7 witch factors by the end of the story. Anyway, it seems like Shala didn't have many friends because she's been alone.
If we think about Shadow Garden scene and how Regulus and Betelgeuse was there, those are the 2 witch factors that we have. One actually was realized as an authority. This is some normie shit that everyone knows. But the level beyond that is the assumption that he had envy in there from the beginning, which could be some sort of return by death or using it as proxy, right? So maybe he has 3. And we know that he has 3 because he opened 3 indoors, and the 4th one basically was what shut him out in, when we were going down the right path, right? In the bottom of the tower, right? But remember the Shadow Garden scene of how like Regulus and Betelgeuse were kind of cut out of the TV? A lot of people say that Satella did it. A lot of people actually say Subaru did it. And you have Satella there, but you also have Subaru there. Now, obviously, this is Shadow Garden happening within Subaru's consciousness domain. I don't know what Satella's, but Subaru being there doesn't matter, right? It's just weird. Because we have Satella, Regulus, and Betelgeuse in there, but you also have Subaru in there. But that, I think, is a bit different. Because that's like his experience rather than which factors being within Subaru.
Friends because she's been alone for 400 years, although she does mention 2 names. Volcanica, who we know is the divine dragon, and Reed Estrella, the stick swinger, who
chopstick swinger. Volcanica apparently is a very sassy dude. It's gonna be funny.
Was the first sword saint. I think it's safe now to show you what Reed used to look like back when he was alive. And remember, Reed is also the name of Reinhardt's dragon sword. So maybe that's what the title stick swinger is about. Or maybe Reed was blind and he had to swing around one of those blind people sticks to be able to see where he's going. This episode,
I thought it just related to the chopsticks, right? And another thing that's very interesting is that, what the fuck? Chopsticks? Chopsticks are not, like a tool that people would use in the world of ReZero normally 400 years ago, I don't think. I feel like that's, again, another thing that Hoshin of the Wilderness introduced.
This episode got me thinking about how bad it would suck to be blind, though, because you would completely miss all the Shala jiggle physics.
No, you wouldn't. If you were blind, you would have... Basically, this is a binding vow where you trade off your sight to enhance other, other insights, your instincts, right? Other senses. And now you could actually understand Shala's tit physics at a deeper level. You know what I'm talking about? You could feel the vibrations, echolocation.
If any blind people are watching this, make sure you hit the like button. I'll try to guide you to it with my voice. It's like right over here on this side of the screen. And if you're on mobile, I think it's like over this way somewhere.
Do blind people use the internet like that? How do they use it? I don't know. How does that work? Brailles. You can't just braille the fucking... I don't know.
Shala also implies that she herself isn't human because she acknowledges that it's normal for a human like Reed to die of old age, even though she clearly hasn't even aged in 400 years. She could be another spirit created by Echidna because we do have confirmation that Echidna was involved with the tower, and locking someone in a library for 400 years is one of Echidna's favorite hobbies. But
shout out to Vieko.
Most of the time, her creations look a bit different, and
nice usage of JJK soundtrack in the background.
Echidna's favorite hobbies, but most of the time, her creations look a bit...
It's the scarf. It's Anastasia's scarf.
Different, and, well, Shala's design kind of looks like it was made by one of the boys. I'm not gonna...
Yeah, again, the color scheme too, right? The color scheme is... just Natsuki Subaru coded because Flugel, I guess, also wore this clothing, this color scheme in the past too.
The boys. I'm not going to elaborate on that, but whoever gave her this outfit had extremely good taste. And
I bet it was Flugel, bro. I bet it was.
Anyway, we keep hearing the name Flugel. In Season 2, Betelgeuse says, I'm sorry, Flugel, right before consuming the sloth factor. And we also know...
So, I'm pretty sure that these are supposed to be like the bones and the remains of Flugel. I think it's heavily implied. And again, it makes sense that Juice would not remember that Subaru looks like Flugel in Season 1 because he has basically become completely mad. But Shala, after 400 years, Hey, it's all there.
right before consuming the sloth factor, and we also know Flugel
tree.
planted the Flugel tree and even carved his name
Japanese.
into it. In this chapter of the light novel, Subaru actually mentions that he also considered carving his name into the tree, and that was just a little bit of cut content, but I thought it was interesting because it's yet another similarity between the two of them.
It's like an instinct that he had that he would do because he's the same person as the one that planted the tree.
Although it seems pretty out of character for Subaru to order Shala to snipe innocent people and then abandon her alone in the tower for 400 years.
You never know how much Subaru changed later on, right? You can't just assume that Flugel is the same type of person.
That's the only reason I don't think Subaru is Flugel, but I don't know.
What about Alice Flugel? Did we forget about Al? So there's Subaru is Al theory that's been going hard during season 3, and then there's Flugel, and that's Subaru, and Al is Flugel. There's too many fucking Subaru clones.
Some more cut content from this episode. While they're walking up the stairs, Shala actually reveals the names of all the floors in the tower. Each floor is named after one of the 7 stars in the Pleiades constellation. Asterope is the circular basement floor. Seleno is the empty ground floor with nothing except a large door to the outside. Alcyone is the floor with the green room and the healing spirit.
Do you think Ram can be healed in this room? So, it can't heal curses, it can't heal authorities, but it heals injuries. And Ram losing the horn is an injury. And now she's just gonna stay there with Ram and Patrash. I feel like in this room, Ram, we could see full horn Ram come out and play, which was told that she could soul the white whale but Pape's word, he power skilled Ram. She is up there.
Alcyone is the floor with the green room and the healing spirit, as well as some other rooms, a balcony, and Shala's room. Taigeta is the library floor that we just unlocked, and then there's 2 floors above that, Electra and Maya. The numbers of the floors are also reversed, almost as if the tower was designed upside down. But anyway, Shala only mentions
Tower was designed upside down. Let's keep that in mind. I can't really make sense of it right now, but interesting.
the names of 6 floors, and according to the Pleiades constellation, there should be a 7th floor called Merope.
The
Subaru
rooftop.
knows this because on Earth he had a vast interest in astronomy, and so when he asks about Merope, Shala just kinda shuts up and refuses to talk about it.
What's going on? Where's the hidden 7th, bro? That's why I always say it's the rule of 6 and 7s in this show, right? It's like 7 sins, but like 1 is already missing. Envy's missing, right? Sattva, she's sealed away. But then there's also like, you know, like what's it called? There's also like the pride spot of archbishops. Should there be 7 archbishops? Well, 1 of them is missing too. 6, 7. Even here too, right? Final floor, it's missing. I don't know. It could be. We'll see.
And that's another classic ReZero mystery. I don't know why they cut that content. Maybe they plan on mentioning it in a later episode, but it was part of this chapter in the novel. Speaking of Subaru's knowledge of astronomy though, this trial was complete bullshit. It's an asterism of a constellation that doesn't even exist in the sky of the
Yeah. Because why are they gatekeeping this? What was the point of this trial, this test actually? This test was to see who was worthy enough to enter the library. So is this just a callback? Maybe it was only meant for Subaru, right? Flugel basically planned this test for himself in the future when he lost the memories. So what? I don't know.
the ReZero world, and the answer was related to mythology from Earth. The answer being Rigel is also kind of crazy because that's what Subaru names his son in the sloth.
The if sloth route, apparently it was a really fucked up route too, where you go and hang out with Rem and Kararage and you have fun. Apparently the ending is so fucking twisted.
Rigel was also different from his father in a lot of ways. For one, he was able to produce a single horn from his forehead, which would gather mana and fill his body with strength, making him feel like he could do anything.
Natsuki Rigel, Subaru with blue hair. Yo, Subaru with long hair too looks pretty good. This is the what's it called, the gray rat hair.
But yeah, to solve this, you not only have to be able to fly, but you also need to be from Earth, and you have to be a fucking astronomy nerd as well.
A nice scene from Memory Snow. I think there's also I have to go back and look at this scene. There's a very interesting scene where we're talking about the constellations and Miku and Roswell, right? This scene, I forget. I think we were looking at the stars and we're talking about, you know, constellations that doesn't really exist.
This puzzle was clearly designed only for a very specific person to solve, and obviously whoever designed it had knowledge of our world too. The library...
It's just like the tree stuff. You know what the craziest thing is, bro? That Flugel understood that Subaru, like he himself, would need the tree to slay the white whale. Did he have that insight? Is this just bullshit coincidence? I don't know. But it worked though, right? Isn't that insane?
It seems like
that is like 400 years. Like this is it's like an alley-oop that lasted 400 years. It's like you threw the fucking football for 400 years, but you also ran and caught that football that you threw 400 years ago. You know, it's like a self-assist. It's like, what?
Something Echidna would do. And also, fun trivia fact about Echidna, she used to live in a... Actually, I'm gonna make this a quiz on the side of the video since YouTube lets me do that now. Think about the answer to that quiz, and then think about when I said it seems like the tower was built from the top down.
Upside down tower. We'll remember that for later.
I'm not saying Echidna built the tower. I feel like sometimes I try to give...
I mean, if you consider the nature of like the trial and test being similar, the whole sanctuary vibes, and Echidna was there 400 years ago, why not? Probably.
Her credit for things she didn't actually do, but at the very least, I think she was involved. I also want to talk about that opening scene with Regulus and Betelgeuse.
Yeah.
This wasn't just an ordinary dream. It's actually a real dimension called Satella's Shadow Garden. In
Satella's inner domain.
the novel, Subaru goes here sometimes after he dies, and then Satella typically shows up and...
Sometimes after he dies. This time though, he didn't die. He was simply lap pillow, right? Sleeping after, all that shit happened.
love bombs him with Riz until he wakes up and immediately forgets all about it. Until this episode though, it's mostly been cut content. We did get a brief glimpse at it in season 1 when Betelgeuse possesses
Yeah, that's right. Like this inner domain, right? It's like what's going on, and Subaru utilized this to basically have Satella smack him and says, "No, it's not you."
Subaru's body and gets rejected by Satella.
Bang!
But other than that, it's just been entirely cut content, and even the scene this episode had some cut content as well.
I love that these two are back in another way. A lot of people hate Regulus. I think he was a entertaining person. He had a lot of aura in the beginning. A lot of shitty behavior, but hey, these are villains, man. Look at what Betelgeuse was doing too. The fact that they're still around, hanging around inside Subaru's body, man. It's great to see.
The really interesting thing in the novel version of this scene was how deeply in love with Satella Subaru was. I fucking pray this kind of shit finds me one day, but it says there was an unbearable, unending passion at the core of his consciousness.
Yeah, sounds about right? Unbearable, unending passion. Again, this all connects to 400 years ago with Flugel and Satella. Who knows, right? But all of this, again, all of the story of ReZero and the powers that Subaru has, at the end of the day, is for these two lovers to unite.
Or perhaps within the formation of his consciousness itself. No, more so it was dear love, adoration, deep, unconditional love. I got no bitches right now, but even if I did, I don't think I could ever love someone that much. I mean,
I could only love myself that much. That's some Koenji shit.
The emotion Subaru felt in this dimension was beyond love. It was like cosmic soul bonding or some shit, and that bondage was unbreakable. Anyway, I don't know if this is true or not, and I haven't had the time to research it, but I bet Subaru goes here literally every time he dies. Like, from our perspective, he might get his head blown off, and then a second later, he's immediately back at his respawn point, but if my theory is correct, I think he goes to the Shadow Garden first, and they just haven't been showing it to us. He also never has any...
It could be. It's just that, again, these scenes that we've seen for Shadow Garden in the anime, it's only happened when he wasn't dead. He didn't die. He got saved by Shala and he passed out, then he woke up in Amelia's lap. Right? I think there was a pretty significant Shadow Garden moment after he died in season 1 though that was cut content, which was episode 15. But didn't he go to Shadow Garden after he got his head cut off by Puck? Saying, sleep along with my daughter? I feel like there was cut content that we covered a long time ago that talked about a Shadow Garden in that scene, but it's basically when he goes unconscious, right? It's like a little... Before he gets to, wake up, there's like this limbo, it's this weird domain.
And a second later, he's immediately back at his respawn point. But if my theory is correct, I think he goes to the Shadow Garden first, and they just haven't been showing it to us. He also never has any recollection of going there, so it could be happening literally every death, and the only reason we don't know about it is because they skip it most of the time. So I actually don't think Return by Death is automatic anymore. After Subaru dies, I think he goes to the Shadow Garden, and Satella has to find him there and then manually use Return by Death on him. But
yes, I like that because now this explains that Return by Death is a power that we're basically borrowing, right? Proxy usage. It's not like an authority of envy that Subaru has within, but Satella is a lot, using it, and this makes a lot more sense.
Because they don't always show that part, to us it looks like he just respawns automatically.
Which is really funny now that you think about every time he dies, that she's like, oh god damn it, bro, I gotta do this shit again. It's just, they're just all watching it through the TV and, oh, he died, all right, where is he? Gotta go find his ass and respawn him.
Death on him, but because they don't always...
It humanizes Satella more. It's like a funny, I want to see, dude, ReZero break time, Shadow Garden, where Satella does this. It could be funny as fuck. It could be so cute. Chibi Satella, Shadow Garden, trying to fucking ramp up, jumpstart Subaru again. Dude!
Show that part. To us, it looks like he just respawns automatically. This episode was a 10 out of 10.
Every episode a 10 out of 10 to you!
It was a great episode for the material it was given to adapt. Honestly, this will probably be the weakest episode.
Weaker than episode 1? Episode 1, I think the Garfield moment was really impactful, but not many people really give a fuck about that. The other episode, content in episode 1 other than that was just, Echidna, Anastasia just reveal. No, I think this is stronger than episode 1. I would rate this higher.
Of the season other than episode 1, but it was nice that we can finally start gooning Nishala, and it's honestly crazy to me that this season of ReZero is actually being adapted. Like, I remember back to when I first started my YouTube channel, that was when this arc was being written, and I would make these really shitty chapter summaries using Google Translate because I didn't know DeepL was a thing, and then
nah, that's actually pretty hype. That's the way that I felt about One Punch Man manga back in the fucking day when I was like, reacting to the One Punch Man manga shit during the Garo arc. That shit was like 4 or 5 years ago. My channel doesn't even exist anymore. That shit got deleted. And now we're reacting to One Punch Man Season 3. That's not a good thing. Hold up. This is not the same thing at all. This fucking sucks, actually. that was like, oh man, what's the anime gonna look like when they adapt the Garo saga during the fucking hero villain association? Well, yeah.
These really shitty chapter summaries using Google Translate because I didn't know DeepL was a thing. And then this Reddit moderator accused me of stealing his translations, and a lot of people believed it. It was good.
That's a Reddit mod moment. That is a certified Reddit moment.
Good times. This season really takes me back to the early days, and it's just surreal to finally be watching it. So far, I've been super impressed with this adaptation, and I can't wait for it to get crazy. I think after this week, that's when the roller coaster really begins, so I hope you guys are ready. Anyway, thanks for...
I've been waiting, bro. These 4 episodes has been nice. Episode 1 was a nice, transition off of the end of season 3. Episode 2 was really fucking hyped near the end. Some amazing key animation scenes and some really, impactful deaths as well. Episode 3, oh my god, episode of the decade, episode of the century, bro. The horror. And episode 4, Shala, fan service, and a lot of, lore exposition and Flugel and Satella, what's going on. And now, please, just fuck me up. Let's go. I've been waiting to get fucked up. Like, I'm waiting for, again, like this year, the best anime episode of all time. I'm waiting for some Arc 3 shit to happen. Come on, I'm waiting. Give it to me.
For watching. Keep talking about ReZero. I'm out for now. Peace.
Thank you. Please go check out Mr. Echidnut. Go like the video. Go sub to him. Check out his other ReZero content. And that's pretty much it. I like this episode a lot. It was a really chill episode in a way. And it was also really cool. It's low-key a power fantasy moment when Subaru solves, the test that no one else could do. And Subaru, feeling himself. And this is a really cool moment. And he also put his hand over his face like that. And Biko was like, I like that face, Kashira. And that's also the same face that he had when we see the season 4 promotional picture. When Subaru has the, the glove over his face. I hope that shit goes hard next episode. That's it from me. Bye-bye.